then we get to the bar, and he's playing his song, and in the middle of it, he sees Denna, and at first he's like, I see her everywhere, and so, it wasn't actually her. And then he's like, and then I looked again, and it was her. And then when she smiles at him, he falls to fucking pieces and fucking loses the song and just fucking completely trips himself up. Like, he's like, that's part of what's frustrating about Denna is like she misses those kind of cues where it's like this dude is like so fucking head over heels for you because she's like, I look for you and I can't find you. When he's like, I look for you, and she's, oh yeah, sure, you look for me. It's like, dude, all you had to do was smile at him, and his fucking song falls to pieces. And he fucking
unrecoverably
he can't even play anymore.
Yeah. He didn't even like. Usually, here's a guy who can break a string and recover and finish playing this amazing song. Here, and then he's just playing some random. I don't even remember, but it seemed like it was some easy song, and she smiles at him, and he shits all over the bed.
Yeah, it's funny.
Can't even continue.
I thought it was kind of funny how he mentioned that everyone laughed. They cheered and booed in equal amounts for a minute or so, enjoying his failure more than they had the song, which is kind of, it's an interesting little thing. And he says, such is human nature. People like taking pleasure in the fact that, the fourth wall comes down on his performance, so to speak. He's like, he's a real person, whatever. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I like failure. Failure's pretty fun.
Fail blog. I like
it's
to watch
Nelson from The Simpsons.
I prefer watching cats. Cats
like
fall off the bed and try to jump through windows at a bird. I like to see cat fails. I'm not a big fan of cats, so yeah. I don't really like cats, so when they like smash their face against a plate glass door because they're stupid, I like that.
I've never seen that.
Well, look up cat fails on YouTube. It's great.
I will not.
I've seen
jumping into fish tanks and.
Well, with the plate glass door, I've seen Dan twice walk into a sliding door. Multiple occasions. Yeah. I saw it on his own apartment balcony, and then I saw it out at a mall.
No.
Trying to walk. It's always a great moment. It's the doom, and then like the what? They shake the head like what, and then like realize you just walked into the door.
Did the door not open for him, or did he walk into like just the glass?
He doesn't think the glass. He doesn't know there's a door. He thinks it's just wide open. So both occasions, boom, right in the door.
Yeah, no, it never happened.
That's good stuff.
I like that people will get like super embarrassed when that kind of stuff happens.
That's
like,
when it's the best.
Makes me laugh.
Yeah, that's when it's the best.
Yeah. Well, with me, it just makes me laugh. Like I don't get embarrassed about it. Like it's like, yeah, well, I looking at my phone, like looking down and walking forward, and think I'm walking through a door instead of walk into something.
I laugh at it more.
Like, it's just like a stupid moment.
I laugh at it more if it's me than anyone else. If it's me that does it, it's absolutely hilarious to me. But I rarely do those types of things because I'm very aware of my surroundings.
I'm well, stuff like that happens to me, and so I like to.
Well, the difference is like Tim, like I will read stuff and I will get really into what I'm reading, and I'm learning a lot of important information and I'm absorbing it. Tim's like, more like a fly, and he's just like hyper aware of what's around him, but he's not absorbing any information. So he won't walk into a wall, but he just won't absorb, important information. So he's more like a fly.
That it is a wall.
Yeah.
That the wall exists.
So he's not going to hit a wall. But he's not going to absorb anything either. Know what I'm saying? Know what I mean?
I'm not going to absorb the impact of the wall? Is that what?
Yeah.
See, I like to lay it on a little extra thick. Like when I'm a klutz, so that stuff happens to me all the time. So like if I trip in the middle of a mall or something, I like to right after it happens, like jump up and take off running and make people think that I'm super embarrassed just because if it's going to be me, it's going to be me.
I do laugh anyway. I really like
lawyer. You start screaming, lawyer! I need a lawyer up.
I really like when someone does just like barely trip and then just turn it into a trot. Like, yeah, I'm just jog. Yeah. I'm just jog for the next 20 feet. Yeah. And then I'm good. Yeah. It's a great move.
Got my workout in.
Oh, totally meant to do
really
that.
Covered up too, like, oh, check the watch. Oh no, I'm good on time. Then she can slow back down to a trot.
I completed my steps for the day. Actually, look at my Fitbit.
Yeah, Kvothe doesn't do any of that. He gets embarrassed and flushes, but then he goes and talks to her. He also does the typical guy thing, like she's like, hey, how long you gonna be here? He's like, oh, I'm pretty much done.
I leave now. I leave when I want to. Like, I leave when I want to.
I can do whatever I want. Hey, man, is there any way I can get out of here? Like, please, dude, I'll suck your dick, man. I'll suck
your dick. I leave when I want to. Hey, man, I'll do anything. Just let me get out of here. I'll make it up, man. I swear. Yeah, that's pretty good. But it speaks to Anchor too. Anchor's cool. He's like, all right. But he also does a tremendous.
Because as soon as Kvothe leaves or whenever they're done with that song, what seems to be a busy night there is just going to
dissipate.
And leave.
Well, he does a tremendous job. This was really what came to mind when I was saying, it'd be nice to be in these sort of situations, and you like the world they're in. When he starts spreading Tinker Tanner, we get a little bit more about Tinker Tanner, how old a song. We already know it's like the oldest song, but when you can involve everybody that easily. Like, it took, 2 notes or 3 notes or something, and everybody knew what he was playing. Or they've said that in the past. And then everybody's playing it, and then he does a tremendous job of creating a karaoke crowd and going from one table to the other, and then everybody applauds the person's verse, so that's just going to keep it spreading. And then he can dip out of there and then, basically ride that out, or Anchors, the place can ride that out for as long as it lasts. So he's smart, man. He knows his crowd. He knows how to work the crowd, which we know that already, but we get a nice little example of it in real time.
Yeah, he does a good job with music as far as differentiating it. There's different types of songs. It's not all the same. It's not always just like, Kvothe was playing, they were spellbound, and like there's bar songs, there's drinking songs, there's love ballads, there's mocking, funny, like Weird Al type songs. Like there's a variety of different types of music in this. Like he really does a good job of filling out the world. Like he adds so many little details that make the book so much better as far as just filling out the world and making it feel more lived in.
Yeah, it gives a lot more personality to the flavor of the world, the different cultures, how different cultures look at, even just thinking of that, how different cultures look at music differently, look at like their theater
like
differently.
ADM looking at it like they're fucking prostitutes.
Yeah, it's so strange, man. It's such a weird dichotomy that they look at someone performing music as like prostituting yourself, but they'll have sex in public with no qualms about it whatsoever. Yeah. No big deal at all.
Yeah.
And they're all like, yeah, you guys are weird about sex. Like, you're weird about music. What's your fucking problem?
Like I can more easily understand your no prudishness and no qualms about having sex in the middle of people. It's weird, but I can understand that. You thinking like me playing music in front of people is me banging everybody in the room? That's weird. Like, that's way more weird.
Yeah, it's very
strange. The way they talk about it, and we're jumping way ahead, but the way they talk about it seems like it's almost like they have a deep respect for it. As much as they disrespect it, it's almost like they have a deep understanding of what we've been talking about, the magic side of it. Because really, if their music is an emotional thing, if you're really into it, and so for the ADM,
they seem to look at,
but why?
Speaking,
that's my point.
like
why
just speaking openly So singing it's the intimacy, it seems. Like speaking openly with people is only in your immediate family. So actually singing a song, it's just too intimate.
Well, like when you think about it, like the idea of like showing your facial expressions and that kind of stuff is, barbaric to them. Yeah. So singing your emotions instead of signing them is going to be vulgar.
I like the idea like mimicking people that use facial expressions. It always reminds me of Eddie Murphy when it's an Asian person acting like they're white. Like you open your eyes real big, like, oh, hey,
I would like a Big Mac and large fries. That's such a great show.
It reminds me, I think Tempe even does something like that to Kvothe. It's either Tempe or, I don't know, maybe his teacher, but it cracks me up. But yeah, and then Kvothe gets all nerdy again. Or makes what to me is like a stupid faux pas where Denna gives him a great in where he's like, okay, well, we're going to go on a walk, blah, blah, like, but what about Savoy? And then she's like, pretty much checks him like, I'm not going to play your guys' stupid games. Like, oh, has he staked a claim on me? Well, there's certain protocols. And then she gets kind of pissed where saying a gentleman's agreement, she asked acidly. And then, when she says, she looked me in the eye, Kvothe, she said, seriously, steal me. That to me is one of the biggest signs, like in the books, like in the total story, where she's just giving him a wide open sign, like I'm into you, clearer than anything.
It's definitely it's in at least like top 5 for sure. Where there's also when she explicitly tells him, you could make a move. And then also, like, at the Mayor Alvaron's when he's taking her to see the Celis flower, and she's like, you could put your arm around me.
Yeah. Well,
those are 2 more explicit, but that's definitely up there as far as close to explicit.
To give a real good example of Kvothe being a real amateur with women, what's the next thing he says? Well, how's Savoy anyway? Like, so you want to talk about this dude? Hey, let's talk about the guy we both know. What the fuck's wrong with you, man?
Yeah. He's so bad.
It's such a terrible.
Which it always makes me like curious about like Rothfuss, like because he writes their witty back and forth banter very well, but I always imagine that it would be extremely it's very difficult to be that witty on the spot that quick. Just where you're every sentence she says, you're coming back with a witty response immediately, just off the top of your head. It's very difficult to be that witty that quickly. It's much easier when you have time to think about it. When you go and you have a conversation with a girl and you start playing it back in your head, like, I should have said this, I should have said that. Well, when you're writing it, you can say whatever the fuck you want because you got as much time in the world. Yeah. But then, like, there's these moments where, like, Kvothe or the interactions are very awkward and very nerdy, and you're like, is that Rothfuss? Is that the actual Rothfuss? And or is he just one of those rare super fucking? Because there are people there's some people like I follow that are just like so fucking quick, so quick-witted, where it just shocks me how quick they are with their wit, where it's like, well, man, there are some people that are like that. It's very, very seldom.
He writes both tremendously. And that's what's so great within Kvothe. Or it's frustrating, really, to read within Kvothe, but like the whole flower bit back and forth is tremendous. And it's also it's so great that Denna checks his ass and is like, oh, well, what would you do? It seems like you would basically try to be as clever as possible to put off answering the question. He keeps rolling. He does a tremendous job, but yeah, those always stick out at me. The whole like bringing up Savoy, and it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? But
yeah, he's definitely not a ladies' man at this point. He's got the potential. He's got the wit and the humor and the personality and the charisma where he could be, but there's a big gaping hole missing.
Well, and one of the biggest things we get here too is Denna's she's a harder nut to crack in the sense that the whole flower thing is done really well by Rothfuss to say, because I mean it's a great tool to show that Denna's like, don't give me fucking roses. I'm not into the basically it's not as simple as it is with other women. Like the stereotypical things you do will not work with me. So they go down this road of like basically showing she's not normal. She's kind of different. Not only is she not normal, she is very adherent to making sure that she's not normal.
Can I just bring up, like, this is another one of those, this conversation specifically is another one of those situations where they really Rothfuss really builds out Denna to be like a woman I know. And I know that you guys said, I don't mean any one specific, but that you said that some people say she's not realistic. So realistic in this scene.
Yeah.
So realistic that the give and take. Look, I don't think me like I'm, what'd she say? With roses again. Like, you know, every guy.
You all read from the same book. And she always talks about that book. Yeah.
I know that girl specifically, like with roses, and it's like the one that needs to have something different, to not be like every other girl.
It needs to be more distinct. Distinct to her because she doesn't fit in with everybody else, and it's more, you know, it's more like, well, it's more distinct. And I get it. I get where it's all coming from, and I 100% have met women that are like that. So again, going back to that critique, like you were just mentioning, that critique doesn't make sense to me because I know women that are like this, and it's interesting. It's an interesting character to read about because it's vexing.
Yeah, I've had people like I dated where like one girl in particular dated for a couple of years. Like when we would exchange gifts, it was never like, you know, you buy her roses or something like that. It was always like funny moments between us where like absolutely. The jokes were, it was about like
more intimate.
This was a funny moment. Like you find she mentions like some fucking band or whatever. Or I'll give you a perfect example. Like she told me one time, I watched this, she said she watched this Hillary Duff movie and she felt ashamed that she loved it. And so then on her birthday, I bought her like a box set of Hillary Duff movies.
Nice.
And so it was like shit like that, where it was you know, shit she would find hilarious, where it's not an expensive gift or an extravagant. It's more thoughtful. Extravagant gift. Yeah. It was about like, you know, our personalities, our relationships, and that kind of shit. Stuff that was funny. It was meaningful gifts.
Yeah. So yesterday I got Sarah, my wife, a bulk box of Tabasco Slim Jims.
Wow, I didn't know those existed.
They do exist. They're and Sarah loves Tabasco, or at least she did at one time. She's probably gonna be sick of them after that entire box of 60 of them. But same thing. It was a funny gift. It cost me what, $30 or something, and it's a funny and fun gift. You can't. Oppositely, I know the other girl too, the one that says that this girl is not realistic because she does want roses, she does want diamonds, and everything does have to be perfect and this and that. Like I see both sides of it.
It's kind of cool how
there are girls that want you to follow that script.
Well, and it's cool how they actually tease it out here as well. And I think for many, it's more the gesture than anything else. That's what matters. That's what they really give a shit about. I think for many, again, I'm not gonna, I can't pigeonhole every single.
Yeah, but there are some that specifically want you to follow a specific script. Like they have their idea of what should be done, and they want you to follow it fucking to a T.
Yeah, that exists. Like
there's a reason why they're like, you buy fucking 10 on your 10th anniversary and that kind of shit, because there are fucking weirdos that follow this fucking script. I don't relate as well to those kind of people. I get that there's there's an aspect of it I get where it's like it gives you kind of a starting point where you can start from. It gives you kind of a baseline. But the people who are like real strict about it, or like they have this this basically like this sitcom relationship view of the world,
kind of shallow,
where like it's these things are supposed to follow these fucking patterns that you see on TV. Like I understand those people, but I'm not like that at all.
No,
like so I relate more to the people who are more spontaneous and got a little bit more of an edge to them, and a little bit more of wildness, a little, there's something different where they just don't want the same thing. So that's what makes me like Denna.
I think what the difference is, and we can move on, but I think the difference is people who are comfortable with normalcy, people who feel comfortable because things are normal and they're normal and seen as normal, versus people who are comfortable when they're not like everybody else. And I think probably the three of us are more not trendy kind of people. Like,
well, I think what you're talking about is
good friends and like each other. But
it's like a stabilization sort of trait, right? Where you're looking for stability and, well, it's been 10 years, so what do you do at 10 years? And, it's like a stable. Well, anyways, one of the things that I really picked out that I like the most, and this pays back, man. The Celis flower thing comes back, and it works out really, really quite nice. But I made the boldest motion of my young life and brushed the side of her neck gently with a pair of fingers as he's trying to. And it seems like he's not even really being cognizant of it. But that's a good move. That's a good move.
Yeah, and then he completely reads. In my opinion, he does. I shouldn't say reads it wrong. He like gives. Could it mean this thing or could it mean that thing? Like he's always got that doubt. Yeah. Where like I think like the reason I don't think she put her hand to her neck where he touched her to be like, cooties.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
Like I did not get that impression.
Yeah, no, I know.
All.
It's ridiculous, but it's perfectly put there because that's what he does, man. It's just like this is his kryptonite. Yeah. And whenever he's interacting with Denna, he way overreads everything instead of just like taking it easy and going with the flow.
Oh yeah. After he leaves her, he is such a head case, man. He really is. Just everything that he did right. Yeah. Everything he did right, he second guesses. Everything that he didn't do right, he like compounds to it, or it's a reason why he did it because he questioned it so much. Give the girl a kiss. It's obviously what she wants.
Well, okay, and here's my thing. Is like, if I touched a girl on the neck and I was like, did she like that or did she think I gave her cooties? If that's how my mind worked, the next step of my mind would be like, well, let's find out. It would not be, well, I'm just going to be left in fucking limbo and doubt for the rest of my life. I'm going to fucking find out one way or another, like, does this girl like me or does she not like me? And if she doesn't like me, then I'll fucking move on. And, if I'm a weirdo and I want to be friends with someone I'm deeply in love with, like, okay, well then I'm gonna fucking be weird and I'll pretend to be friends, I guess. But fucking. I
can see that role for you, Dan.
People, like,
I can see that.
Can you? I just like I don't understand that like I love this girl so much, but she doesn't love me that way, so I'll just be friends with her. Like what? What are you talking about? How does that work?
Yeah, that's not
like that.
Work.
Seems like fucking just pouring salt in a wound every day.
Yes, it has to be.
Oh, fuck that.
Anybody that's ever been in a friend zone, I imagine it's just the worst feeling ever.
No, can you imagine?
At least like the friend zone people usually don't take their shot. Can you imagine like taking your shot and then the girl's like, I'm not into you like that, but we can be friends? Like, oh, no.
I'm gonna move on to another.
Let's be friends.
So. Okay, well, we'll be friends.
Like if you take your shot with some girl you're not familiar with and you don't have that connection, but like if you're deeply in love with a girl and then you take your shot and you get shot down, like nah, then you move on. Yeah. But like Kvothe doesn't even take a shot. He's just like, I'm gonna fucking just live in limbo forever. Like that. So I guess that seems like the worst kind of torture.
So I guess the way to encapsulate that and make it justifiable is he lost everyone. So he's so desperate to not lose her that he won't take the shot because he'd rather be in limbo. You know what I mean? He'd rather be in limbo than lose. Yeah, but I mean, I get it. I couldn't do that personally, but I also didn't lose my entire family when I was, 7, 8 years old or whatever he was, 11, 12.
I will throw this out though. This is like his second, third time seeing her ever. Look, she throws out plenty of hints that Kvothe should take as she's into me, but really, like in real life, it's not like they're on their 5th date or 7th date. They've met each other 3 times. They've spent.
Yeah, and it's also not like they see each other in the hallway every day either. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm throwing that out there because it's a reality that the first time they see each other, she takes the part. He sees her. They talk for less than 5 minutes. The next time he sees her.
Their first interaction, they're with each other for a few days.
Yeah, and they talk a whole night, right? That's when they first.
Like, I mean, he's had like I've never like had a girl that like I spent days with, where and I'm like talking to her all night, and then just like
especially that much
if
of a
I was
connection.
interested in
but,
her, not make it known, not make any kind of move, or not make any kind of like it's
there's
hard
hardly
for
any
me
physical
to
contact.
Understand that kind of fear of rejection.
So you're saying just about the first night, because that was what, 6 months ago?
Well, yeah. Like here's the thing. Like I can kind of understand it in the first few times they were together, because he's just coming out of Tarbean and he's been living like a bum for a while, so I can understand he's emotionally scarred. But then he sees her at the Aeolian. I understand why he doesn't fucking take a shot there. When she comes to see him play, and she's like, "Steal me," and they're having this extravagantly romantic banner over what kind of flower would you give me, and then they spend 5-6 hours together talking under the moonlight. No, I don't understand why you wouldn't express any kind of interest at that point. Like I don't understand someone who wouldn't make it known, like, "Hey, I'm into you." At least that much. Maybe you don't like try to kiss her or anything like that, but like, "Hey, you're awesome. I think we mesh well. Am I reading this right? Let's go out fucking for dinner."
Well, he does
making no move makes no sense.
He does a pretty fantastic job of complimenting her with his whole speech about the Celis flower. I mean, that's pretty masterful. Yeah. It's a huge compliment to a woman, or to anybody really. And then does go, you think too much of me. Perhaps you think too little of yourself. So he was giving her a lot of compliments. But yeah, I mean,
I will say this. If we weren't in Kvothe's head, you could say that Kvothe played it perfectly. If you weren't in Kvothe's head and know what he's thinking, that he's actually doing it because he has no confidence. If he was doing this shit on purpose, he was doing it perfectly. Like touching her neck and
if he was
taking
like,
her back and
yes. If he was like, "Look, I don't want to be over aggressive, and I want to fucking make her into me."
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But eventually, you have to fucking make a move. But the fact that we know he's not going to make a move is why it's frustrating. If he was like, I want to fucking just kind of subtly seduce her. If it was like a seduction thing, like, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But like, no,
that's what I was saying.
He's not, and it would also make more sense. Like, okay, he's 15 years old, so yeah, he's not gonna have game, but he does have game. He has fucking mad
I was gonna say,
he has game out the fucking, the whole fucking out the ass. Like, he has so much fucking game. Like, for him to be that to doubt himself that much, it's very, very hard to fucking read.
What really bothers me, so yeah, he has the whole Celis flower thing is a display of tremendous game, and then she, says she would give him a willow flower. Well, why a willow flower? Does that exist? Blah blah blah. You remind me of a willow, and gives him a little compliment, and then he puts his hands up and he's like, "Cease these sweet words. You seek to bend me to your will, but it will not work. Your flattery is naught to me but wind. I hated that moment so much.
I did too.
Where I was just like, dude, you dork.
Dork.
What are you doing, man?
Yeah. That was so nerdy.
Which, by the way,
so
what it kind of reminded me of, also, which maybe it ties in pretty nicely. It reminded me of the Ramsden Steel, to a degree. You know, it bends.
What are you talking about?
Because when they talk about it, you seek to, so you move easily when the storm comes, but never farther than you wish. And then the willow moves to the wind's desire. It's something about that reminded me of the Ramsden Steel, how it's strong yet brittle, like it breaks. Like, so the willow is bendable, yet it moves by the wind. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like it goes with the flow, but at the same time, it can be like not brittle, but it can be feeble or pushed into a degree. I don't know. It just reminded me of that, and it probably also because it's a weak ass moment on his part. I
don't think of it as because like when I think of like the Ramsden Steel, I don't think of it as bending. I think of it as like solid and sturdy, and then eventually just snaps all together. Breaks. Yeah, I don't see it as bending, but I mean I get, you know, with I don't like see the analogy, but I get the point.
I see it in the sense that I hated that moment a lot. It's just like
it's the worst.
It's so terrible.
It is the worst.
Gets like theatrical.
And you know what? I take back what I said about Kvothe being, you know, playing it perfectly. If he was actually.
To that point.
If we weren't in his head.
Up to that point. Yeah. It's like,
it was so bad.
Dude, what?
It was horrible. Like it was like the record scratch.
Yeah.
Like fucking this great music's playing and then just like
yeah.
It does so fucking bad.
It totally reads that way. It's very effective, and I think that's what the intention was by old Patty there, and it definitely did its job. I was just like, ugh,
yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah, that was bad. It was bad because like he's just so fucking smooth. It's so many times, and then he will just like do some things where it's like,
that's why that actually does kind of also make sense. Where the next moment is like, I had these moments when I was younger where it's like, should I kiss her? Should I not kiss her? I'm going to kiss her. I'm not going to. This is such a horrible feeling. I can't remember how old I was, but back then it's just.
Here's the thing. Like I can remember being young kid in, you know, middle school, early high school, where it's like, you know, should I make a move, and having that doubt and not making that move. I can remember that.
Yeah.
I cannot remember once I got to a point where I had the kind of confidence to talk to girls the way Kvothe is talking
good point.
Yeah. And then not making that move. Once I got to that point where I could talk and I could have the, you know, conversations along these lines where there's a back and forth and there's you're feeling each other out, and you know then I would always make the move.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you get shot down and you just fucking move on with your life. But I would shoot my shot.
Yeah.
Like I don't it's hard for me to relate to people who don't shoot their shot, and it's very hard to understand someone who's got as much game as he does to not shoot your shot.
And he does continuously, you know, he does say things like, you know, Diok's warning made me uncertain. Perhaps what I felt was nothing more than Denna's natural charm, her charisma in itself, rather than an attraction. Like all boys of my age, I was an idiot when it came to women. The difference between me and others is that I was painfully aware of my ignorance, while others like Sim bumbled around making asses of themselves. But, you know, it's interesting, and he does, and what I was talking about earlier, he could think of nothing worse than making some unwelcome advance towards Denna and having her laugh at him. I hate nothing more than doing things badly. That's pretty telling, just towards his character in itself, because he does everything so well. Everything that he does extraordinarily well. And this, he's stammering, he's, you know, second thinking himself, he's killing it, and then he just cuts himself off at the knees.
I mean, like, other than that one stupid line, and the only reason the stupid line is just the self-doubt, the self-confidence problem. Like, other than that, he fucking killed it. He fucking should have felt very good about everything he did. The only part that was missing was either make the move there Or put yourself in a position where you can make a move the next
Well,
time.
I mean, he does put himself in a position to make a move the next time, but unfortunately, he walks away with, I had ruined everything. All the things I had said, things things that seemed so clever at the time were in fact the worst things a fool could say. Even now, she was inside breathing a sigh of relief to finally be rid of me. And then, but she had smiled. She had laughed. So it's like he goes, like, he just goes back and forth in his own head. You know, I should have been bolder and kissed her. I should have been more cautious.
Yes.
I talked too much. I said too little.
You should have been bolder and fucking seen where you were at. Doesn't mean you're gonna fucking hit your shot, but you should have took a shot.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's just he goes back and forth like crazy on that. And you've talked about that before. It's just with Denna, he can't. Even now, he can't. You know, in live time as Coach.
With any girl. Like, I mean, girls throw themselves at him, and he fucking can't. He can't even fucking take the, the assist. Like, they throw up an alley-oop, and he was, like, watching the ball sail into the stands, not realizing, like, that pass was for him. Like, yeah, it's like, who'd you throw that to? It was you, dummy.
It's such a mix of confusion and self-doubt. And he transitions the whole end of the chapter. He goes from like just being elated to then being fearful, then dreading, and it's just rapid.
Oh man, he's got some psychological issues.
Yep. A couple things. He does build how attractive Denna is to everyone with Sim
Great
looking
God.
Over.
What Diak found.
I love the what's that from Kvothe. While he's working that cork in the Scutton bottle, he's managed to get the most beautiful woman in the place again. It's enough to hate a man. So naturally, Sim and Will are looking at who was just described as the most beautiful woman in the world. What's Kvothe doing? He's taking a cork out of the bottle and then holding it up like, "Hey guys, look, I got it." Fucking dork.
I opened the bottle.
Like a nerd, man. So that was another one where I held it up triumphantly for them to see. Neither of them paid me any attention. Their eyes pinned to the doorway. Yeah, they're looking at the most beautiful woman. You dork. Who cares about your cork?
Even before that, he's like, I was working at it, and I managed to get it out, and it made the most satisfying sound. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I love Will's reaction too. I mean, his just like he's like, "That's your fucking girl."
Yeah.
He's like, "Hold on, buddy."
Yeah,
he's like, "This is the girl you've been talking about the whole time." I'm like, I don't know, buddy. I don't know. You might have fucking stepped up a couple places too high for yourself.
Yeah, and it does seem like, I think they get it pretty quick. Like when she starts walking up to him, she first smiles at him the way that she always does. And then she's walking up to him and he's hitting the bottle real quick. And Sim's just looking at him like, who the fuck is this guy? Like the fact that he's pulling chicks like this.
I picture it like, your friends like telling you like, "Hey, man, I met this girl. I'm really into her." And then you see her and you're like, "Hold on, that girl's a fucking supermodel."
Yeah, I'd be like, that's
no wonder you're into her.
Hold on. Like, yeah, of course you're into her, but like, why didn't you give us this information? Like, this would have changed my advice. Like, you probably are fucking, should not be fucking going after her. You're probably biting off more than you can chew, man.
Jesus.
Like, okay, wait a minute. Change your game plan here.
Yeah.
Do not tell her how you feel. Play it cool.
Yeah.
Keep it on the DL.
This is going to blow up in your face, man. I would have gave you totally different advice.
Yeah, it's a funny transition there. But
man,
I love
when it comes up
Sim being like the total girl. Like, that is not the guy reaction. The like, oh, it's enough to make you hate a man.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, like if you're a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I've never understood
like my reaction to fucking dudes that can get girls.
Yeah, I've never understood
like,
that.
Like, oh, fucking hate that guy.
Yeah,
he fucking gets all the girls.
It's
like,
what? Yeah,
no.
it's a very weird
So
jealousy
weak.
response. Yeah, it's extraordinarily weak. It shows weakness in the second that you utter it. But every time, I've heard a guy like that where it's like, how'd he get her? He can't get her. It's like, well, fuck nerd, you fucking nerd. I guess he can.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, I always hate that, man.
Well, I love it when guys are like, well, she's way out of his league. Like
out of your league, bro.
Just exactly. Like, I know I said it last week, but it's more of a running theme in my own personal life. Like, is guys hate these guys who get girls or like there's this hot chick going with someone who looks like a dork or is fat or whatever, is ugly or doesn't have money, like, and they're like, how the hell did he get her? Well, that's why you did.
He had the balls to talk to her.
I get it. Don't get it.
While you're staring at her across the room.
Like, I get it with girls because, like, a hot girl, every guy is gonna fucking, tongue's gonna be hitting the floor and fucking going after her. So that makes sense just because of how guys are wired. Girls are not wired like guys. So, like, the idea, like, oh, he gets all the girls. Like, no, he gets his girls. You could get yours too.
Right.
Yeah, it's always funny, man. Yeah. Well, and what I've found in my life is that a lot of the hottest girl at the bar, guys are scared to talk to her. So if you go up and actually talk to her, wow, this is actually easier than I thought it would be, because no one's hitting on her because they're intimidated by her. That's what I've found.
Yeah, the way to do it is you write a note and you say,
yeah, right.
Do you like me? Yes or no? Boom. Crushed it. That's it. That's all you have to do.
You go up, make fun of her, make an observation of something in the room that's funny. Open with a joke. That's always the way to go. But if you can, make fun of her. That's the best way.
Normally, I don't like unibrows, but you pull it off.
But yeah, so
much good advice.
Yeah, right.
So much good advice.
What I really love, this is again where Willem is great, where Kvothe can't find a way to get out of it, and Willem immediately is like, "You're making an assumption that we even want him here. Like, do us a favor, take him."
Strong wingman.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Willem is a strong wingman there.
And then Sim comes in and just undercuts it completely.
Yeah.
He takes it from like a strong wingman to the worst wingman. Like, oh, he's so desperately in love with you. He's never going to be able to fucking speak to us again if we fucking hold him back. He's going to be crying about missing his opportunity with you. Like, oh, dude, why? You just fucking kneecapped him, man. What are you doing?
Well, I like
dork.
And I like how, Kvothe's reaction is like, I'm about to kill this dude. Like, what is wrong with you?
And then her reaction is great. Like with Willem is a stone in deep water. Simon is like a boy splashing in a brook.
Yeah, it's a great.
Yeah,
it's a very observation on her part.
It's a very keen observation in knowing them for 2 minutes, something like that.
I mean, honestly, with that kind of wingman activity, like they did a very good job of describing who they are to her.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
They both did a very good job of explaining themselves to her in that little moment.
I thought it was interesting when he talks about it as he's walking out. Diak looked a little jealous, but as soon as I passed him, I caught a glimmer of something other in his eyes: sadness, pity. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
I think it was. Well, it was spoken to at the end of the chapter there. I think there may be something more to it, but then at the end of the chapter when he goes on to describe her as a fire, describe all women as a fire. Mm-hmm. And Denna being the type that burns you, one that's like more like sparks flying off of I think he described it as a welding situation where you try to catch these beautiful sparks, but as soon as they hit your hand, they dissipate and fly away. If there's something more to it, the pity that Diak sees in his knowing, just because he knows Denna better than anyone else in the story at this point. He knows that she is fleeting. He knows that, or at least he can assume that she's leading Kvothe on, and he can see, knowing Kvothe so well, that Kvothe just doesn't see it. He doesn't know what she's really involved in.
She's a man-eater.
Yeah.
Like Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
That's actually, they actually have some good hits.
Oh, Hall & Oates? Forget about it.
Forget about it.
She's a man-eater.
What is this forget about it? You fucking New York dork over here?
Fucking forget about it. We're going back to the 80s.
Fucking
forget about it. Forget about it.
Gabagool.
I'd like to order the gabagool. The gabagool.
Just say gabagool. Just say like.
I'd like to order one gabagool.
We don't have gabagool. Gabagool.
I don't know what you're saying. He's trying to say gabagool. Gabagool.
But yeah, I take his I take his reaction as that though. Like he's gone after her, and she's broken his heart, and he's also seen her with other guys. He sees her fucking just rolling through fucking dudes, and so he's more mature than Kvothe. He's older than Kvothe. He's more world wise than Kvothe, and so he has a better understanding of who Denna is and what her situation is, and he's putting himself, he's putting himself in a position where he could be hurt by her, and he sees that, and he's trying to warn him.
Yeah, it seems like Diak's convinced that is who she is, and it's not as much about. Right. Yeah, well, and it also seems it's not as much about like she's out of your league type situation. It seems like she's like a predator, and he likes Kvothe, and he's kind of looking out for him, I guess. So it's an interesting dynamic. It kind of makes me think there might be more dirt behind Denna than we're privy to.
Well, I think he explains it when they have their conversation before it gets jumped. I think he explains it like she's in a bad, precarious situation, and this kid is not in a position where he can fucking relieve that burden from her.
So are you saying she set him up?
Kvothe's Captain Save-A-Ho.
Yeah.
He's Captain Save-A-Ho.
Yeah, so and he can't save a hoe. So he's fucking Lieutenant Save-A-Ho.
Lieutenant instead of Captain.
But I think Diak understands her and her situation, and he understands that she's not looking for a savior, and so what I think Diak is not understanding is that Kvothe is her equal, and she is Kvothe's equal, and so I think if Kvothe approached her in the right way, not as her savior, but as her equal, and that she was his equal, I think it could go somewhere positive. Well, I think it could be like if he had like had he gone to her to Annalyn, and he had just fucking been by her side, and they just been partners in crime.
Yeah, like you said before,
they would have been fine.
They team up and just roll people.
Yeah, where Kvothe runs into problems is he starts looking at her as a girl to save, and that's where he makes the misstep. She's not looking to be saved. She's looking for fucking someone to be her partner in crime, not to be her savior.
Yeah, it seems like she wants an equal, and it seems like what ends up blowing up in his face is when she always goes back to is, you're just like all of them. And that was always the risk, and that's when it blows up in his face, is when she says, you're just like all of them. So...
Yeah, you want to save me.
Yeah.
Well, before she goes to Annalyn, he's so hell-bent on going to university without realizing he could have... Wait a minute. Annalyn's where she went.
Yes.
Right after their...
Correct,
okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is Kvothe could have gone to admissions right after that and actually Captain Save-A-Ho her ass before she even got into in this chapter or maybe it was the one before, she goes into explaining that Denna rather than Diane, what she's going by, or Denna is a girl that is an innocent person.
Yeah,
before
it seems like she lost her innocence in aniline,
right?
Or in that time.
Yeah, prior to
meeting him,
going off
correct.
to
just like him,
that she was somewhat innocent,
just like him and Tarbean. Well, although he lost it before that, but they both went through hell. It seems like in that 6 months, and completely changed.
Yeah, and I think he would have been fine had he been like, instead of like, look, I can't go to aniline, but come to Emre with me. I don't have anything. I can't take care of you, and you don't need me to take care of you. But I think we could, we could work it out. We'll figure it out.
It's funny.
I think if he had approached her that way, I think it would have been fine. Well, not like I'm going to save you, or you even need me to save you, but we like each other. Let's fucking work it out together.
Well, it's really interesting because you put it that simply, and it doesn't seem like he sees it that simply. You know what I mean? Like he can't get past the I have to be the provider situation. He can't get his mind past that. And that's all he needs to do, to a degree at least. It seems like if he could just do that, he would be in better graces with her. And he would be an option for her, because the way that he's approaching it, it seems like he's not an option because he's just like everybody else who's trying to be that guy, and that's not what she wants. Yeah.
She doesn't need a fucking savior. She just needs a fucking partner in crime.
Which is really interesting. That makes such an interesting, again, dynamic for her as a character, because they're all doing what they think women want, which is provide and take care of
not
me
only
and
that, but it's
protect
within.
me. But that's not what she wants.
It's within Kvothe's character. I mean, why does he go follow her and try to look out for her and try to find out who her patron? He thinks that he's beating on her. It goes inside his character. It's not just that he's in love and thinks that he's going to be thinks that he's going to be the provider or the protector. It's within his character.
It's the same thing he has with same thing he has with Ari, and Ari has the same thing with him.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean, he's a heroic figure, and he wants to be the hero, and he wants to be the savior.
Well, and he is.
Well, he's
it's just the wrong approach with her.
And he actually is with Fella repeatedly. you know, and he actually plays the role that she would want, and then is blind to what he's even fulfilling. Yeah,
if he was going to play the role of the hero, he should have played it with Fella, not the girl that's so fucking gangster that when a guy's trying to rape a girl in a back alley, she's fucking pulling out a knife and fucking standing toe to toe with him. That ain't the girl that needs you. To fucking save her.
Yeah, but that's why she's that much more attractive. Plus, he's known her forever. It was just like his first love and all that. It's really, I mean, he did a tremendous job
compounded
of rattling this all up, because it doesn't matter. I mean, so many times we talk about it, and there's always a little bit of a different take. There's always a little bit of a different edge to their. You can't complete. I think one of the genius things about their relationship is you can't completely pin down either of them or their relationship to one another. You can't completely pin it down. That's what's so interesting about it.
No, yeah, there's so much to talk about between their personalities are very similar in a lot of regards, but they're very different in a lot of regards. And there's reasons why they would connect, and there's also reasons why they would butt heads. It's written in a way that is very natural. It's what happens between them makes sense. It makes sense why they connect and why they butt heads, and like all of it fits with who they are as people.
Yeah.
Going back, I really liked Diak's description of women. What you guys about the comparing them to fire? I found that to be profound.
Yeah, I like it. It's a really solid metaphor? I guess it was a metaphor, analogy. It's quite.
I like Kvothe's response to it.
Yeah, it's
the best. But
it's so great.
Yeah, but like if you want like his Diak's response was like, "Look, Kvothe, I know it's not my place, and I hope you don't take it wrong. Damn, I'm not good at this sort of thing. You see, women are like fires, like flames. Some women are like candles, bright and friendly. Some are like single sparks or embers, like fireflies or chasing summer nights. Some are like campfires, all light and heat for a night and willing to be left after. Some women are like hearth fires, not much to look at, but underneath they are all warm, red coal and burns that long, long while. He was talking about butterfaces there. But Diane is like a waterfall of spark pouring off a sharp
with
iron
that wop,
edge
though.
Yes, with that
that
wop.
God is holding to the grindstone. You can't help but look. Can't help but want it. You might even put your hand to it for a second, but you can't hold it. She will break your heart. Yeah. So he put a lot of words into some girls are like butterfaces.
So I'll just hash this real quick. There's I'm going to come back to this next episode, but there's a recurring foreshadowing that's going on of what's to come in the next chapter, and this is one of them.
Well,
the fire analogy.
Just speaking to like what he does here, these little subtle things are great. When Diak says, "Damn, I'm no good at this sort of thing," it like gets you more excited to hear what he's about to say.
And then he's like really good at it.
Yeah.
What is he talking about?
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But like he's struggling. Yeah. The fact that he's struggling with it, you're like, oh shit, there's something about to be said here. That's like when every time someone says, I hope I'm not about to offend you, and I don't mean this to offend you, and then they say something that there's no way you could be offended by it, but you listen intently because you're like, what the fuck? Why do they think this would offend me? And then as soon as they say it, then you're like, oh, well, yeah, I'm not a pussy. I can take it. Or whatever whatever ends up getting said. But it kind of reminds me of that. And reading it, it got me to kind of like, not actually sit up, but, in your mind sort of sit up and pay attention a little bit closer or get like excited for about what's about to be revealed. And then, it's a great description.
His response is so great too. It's just perfect. Kvothe with the Diak, my heart is made of stronger stuff than glass. When she strikes, you'll find it as strong as iron-bound brass, or gold, or adamant, together mixed. Don't think I'm unaware, some startled deer to stand transfixed by hunter's horns. It's she who should take care, for when she strikes, my heart will make a sound so beautiful and bright that it cannot help but bring her back to me in winged flight. My words startled Diak into bemused laughter. God, you're brave, he shook his head. And young. I wish I were as brave and young as you. Still smiling, he turned to enter the Aeolian. Good night, then, good night. Diak wished that he was more like me. It was as great a compliment as I'd ever been given. But even better than that was the fact that my days of fruitlessly searching for Denna were at an end. Tomorrow at noon in the Aeolian. Lunch and talking and walking, as she had phrased it. The thought filled me with giddy excitement. How young I was. How foolish. How wise.
I thought that the very last line there was interesting. When he calls himself foolish and then, again, wise. Because at this point, I don't see how he was wise.
Yeah, I don't know.
Other than his own, I'm
not sure.
Well, I mean, I could have said intelligent. I could have said, experienced, a lot of things, but wise is not one of them. I mean, he's cunning. I
think wise in the sense that, dude, like if you meet like somebody that's that is like this amazing and you actually have the balls to shoot for it, that's pretty wise of you. Because you live your years out and you're like, oh, that one chick that I didn't have the balls to talk to, that you would end up regretting that. I don't know. I got to a point where I would hit on girls just because I would regret not doing this. Even though, girls that don't even speak English. But I'm like, well, she's too hot and she's Brazilian, but I'm going to try anyway. And we got nowhere.
Tim, you remember, like, I think it was with you, we went, like, to a bowling alley and we ran into two girls that spoke Spanish?
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't speak a lick of English,
yes.
And somehow, like, I picked them up, like, I got their number and got them to come hang out at our place.
I do remember.
Like, at a later time, like, we couldn't even speak to each other.
Yeah,
we could not have a conversation. Like, she didn't speak English, I didn't speak Spanish. Like, somehow like to transport myself back to that mindset where like I had that kind of balls that I was going after a girl who I could not communicate with. Like I can't even imagine like the confidence like I had at that age. Apparently, yeah, I had it.
I remember literally, I was like, I was trying to use Spanish because I was in college at the time, and I was like, I have a Spanish test coming up. I was literally like having to study for this shit, but I wasn't actually learning Spanish. I was really good with flashcards, so I just remember terms. So my teacher thought I was the shit, but I couldn't speak for a lick. So I was like, go ahead and speak, and I'll see. And then they started, and I immediately stopped them, like, hold I got nothing. Yeah, literally. I mean, I was literally trying, and I was studying Spanish.
Start showing them flashcards.
Yeah. And I was just like, and they just looked at me like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, I got none of this.
Siete.
Yeah, there's nothing happening in this conversation that I'm picking up. But, yeah, that's funny. But, yeah, I mean, I hit on Pam, Pam from The Office. I saw her at Ralph's. I went in, my pickup line was, it was something along the lines of, I don't want to make you uncomfortable, and I know you're probably not the person that may know the answer to this, but wax paper, parchment paper, like, what's the difference? So I just went in with that.
What'd she say?
She kind of laughed, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't really know." And then I made a comment about the Boston Red Sox because she was wearing a Red Sox hat, and she was kind of giving me a bit of the cold shoulder. She was cool, but yeah, the vibe wasn't. She wasn't feeling me. But I had to try. She was there.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at that. You had to try, Dan.
Dude, we where we lived, like at the Ralph's, the grocery store, like there were celebrities constantly in there. We saw we saw Wayne Knight,
he lost his shit
fucking Newman from Seinfeld.
He was skinny. Yeah, I mean, it was the weirdest thing.
Did you hit on him?
I hit on it. I picked him up. I fucking took him home.
It's the white whale. The white whale.
Yeah, that was that Ralph's. We used to see all kinds of people.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they all lived right around there. I mean, and there's like it was like Porn Central. Porn headquarters were all right around.
Yeah, Vivid Entertainment and a bunch of other ones.
So I'm sure, Wayne Knight was on hard times, and he was having to slink into the.
He's got Jurassic Park.
Porn,
he's got
producing porn.
He's got Jurassic Park money rolling in forever. I don't think he's having to do porn.
Yeah.
Well, Seinfeld money too.
That's big.
Yeah, I'm sure the Seinfeld money is much bigger.
Well, no, but what was crazy when we saw him, he must have had gastric bypass because it was all gone. All that weight was gone.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, didn't he? I know he lost a ton of weight, but I thought he was one of the kind of on the forefront of that movement when it happened, when they were doing that.
I haven't seen him in anything since. I haven't seen him skinny in anything.
No, he had a typecast.
He's probably healthier, but he's not getting a whole lot of work in that field.
I mean, if you're gonna get typecast into Seinfeld. I mean, who gives a shit after that point? Do that show for fucking 10 years.
If you're gonna get typecast as your best self, like skinny and in shape, so that you have something that you have to work towards. Instead of being a fat guy, I got to get fat again for this role. Like, it's not a good idea.
Yeah, that's not good for you. That's for sure.
The only other thing I had to comment on the chapter is when Kvothe and her are talking, it's brought up that she does remember their interaction together.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
and obviously
they revealed it. They revealed it in a great way too, with the words that. What was it?
She goes to him. Your eyes were far away just then. What were you thinking? I shrugged, buying a moment to think. I couldn't tell her the truth. I knew every man must compliment her, bury her in flattery, more cloying than roses. I took a subtler path. One of the masters at the university once told me that there were 7 words that would make a woman love you. I made a deliberately casual shrug. I was just wondering what they are. Is that why you talk so much, hoping to come on them by accident? I opened my mouth to retort, then seeing her dancing eyes, I pressed my lips together and tried to fight down my embarrassed flush. She lay a hand on my arm. Don't go quiet on my account, Kvothe, she said gently. I'd miss the sound of your voice. She shook a drink of wine. Anyway, you shouldn't bother wondering. You spoke them to me the first time we met. You said I was just wondering why we're here.
Why
she made a flippant gesture. From that moment, I was yours.
Yeah, if she ever said anything that was more revealing or more the, Kvothe, I'm into you, it's, I'm in love with you. She just said it. She said, yes. You said the 7 words that made me fall in love with you the first time we met.
Yeah.
But he's always playing this dance. Actually, they kind of speak to it in this chapter too, where he said, I spoke subtle circles around the way I felt, not wanting to be overbold. I thought she might be doing the same, but I could never be sure. It was like we were doing one of those elaborate Modigan court dances where the partners stand scant inches apart, but, if they are skilled, never touch. Such was our conversation.
Yeah, that's it.
But not only were we lacking touch to guide us, it was as if we were also strangely deaf. So we danced very carefully, unsure what music the other was listening to, unsure, perhaps, if the other was dancing at all. So yeah, in his mind, it's all. I think this goes back to what Dan's been saying. It's his lack of self-worth that in his mind, if there's this thought that everything is rooted in with his relationship with Denna that he can't provide, so he can't be worthy of her. That's how you would be blind to these signs. I don't know how else. So what he would have to take that as is she's just playing a role. We're doing this dance. We're playing. It's like they're, in his mind, it's like theater. So they're kind of like fucking around doing lines back and forth, doing lines, but performing lines back and forth, but not, being genuine with each other, which sucks because
I kind of
in a way that takes like a lot of the luster or the punch out of their relationship altogether if it's not even meaningful to him. You know what I'm saying?
No. I took it a totally different way, Tim. And I thought it was a really great description of what he and she are doing, because if you think of a dance, I don't know what a Modagan dance is, but if you think like
break it down.
It's twerking.
Okay. If you think of a twerking where nobody's
touching, but not touching,
I've seen
like really close, but not touching.
So I've seen.
So I thought of it more of a salsa dance. Right. Okay,
well, hold on. Totally wrong.
So wait a minute. Let me explain. Okay, because in a salsa dance, they seem to not be touching. I've seen. Obviously, there can be touching in a salsa dance, but think of a salsa dance where they're not touching, where it's. So
I've seen what he's
because you guys are.
I've seen what he's describing. I don't remember what it was. Probably like an old movie, so Dan wouldn't have ever seen it. But something where like literally the objective is to be as close as possible, but to not actually touch. And I think I've either read about
it. That perfect in your rhythm.
Twerking. I don't know why we're continuing to hash this out.
Yeah,
I explained.
It's the electric slide. That's what they're doing. They're doing the electric slide. They're doing the Harlem Shake. That's what this is. It's just the Harlem Shake back and forth in front of each other.
I'll quickly say that as we've talked about how they go back and forth seamlessly, and they never kiss, they never leave the surface, or at least very rarely. But it's so perfect between the two of them. And then, to add another level to it, him saying to you that they're both deaf is saying, but they both don't realize that they both love each other.
They play on this delicate balance of being intimately superficial. At times they're being intimate and genuine. At times they're playing a role. There's like a superficiality to it. Yeah, very careful and poised and like.
It's not superficial. It's careful. They're not superficial. They both want it very much. They both love each other very much, but they're so afraid that they have to be careful about it, and careful not to touch.
It's like they're walking up to like a deer and trying to get close enough to fucking pet the deer. and scared that
but
every step
will
they make, they're going to fucking startle it, and it's going to fucking run away from them.
So neither pet the deer. They just get close.
Popcorn in hand.
The deer
I had a
is
friend
like
that got bucked by
laying
a deer.
on his back, spread eagle. Come pet me, man.
Hey, come and get it.
Jeez.
The only other aspect of it that I wanted to bring up was when he was like, he is super nerdy. I remember your name, Denna. It sounded good to say it to her. Why did you take a new one? Or was Denna just the name you were wearing on the road to Annalyn? And she was like, I'd almost forgotten her. She was a silly girl. She was like a flower unfolding. I stopped being Denna years ago, it seems. So I think that gives a possible hint that she might be going into the Fae or something like that. Like, she feels like, because it's been 6 months at this point. Or not 6 months, half a year. So it's been like 4 months in their world. So half a year. And in her mind, it's been years since she's been Denna, since that girl he met on the road. And like when he sees her, it seems like she's older than when he met her on the road. It seems like she's a more mature fucking woman now versus, a younger girl back then. So it's possible that the reason she consistently dips out is that she's going into the Fae. She's like literally dipping out.
What's she doing there?
So, and that's one of those hints is that she looks, when she hears about Denna, she doesn't think about it as this was half a year ago. She thinks about it as this was years ago.
They find their way to Greystones on multiple occasions, the two of them.
Yeah.
That happens quite a bit.
That too. That's both good points. I like the fact that she tells Kvothe that she wants to go, she wants to be called Denna by him.
Yeah.
She likes to be called by Denna by him.
I like that she's like, it sounds nice when you say it, something like that. I wonder what she's doing in the Fae. What is she doing there?
I don't know. I mean,
who
the fuck knows? I mean, she could be, there's theories that she is part of the moon. Like, she is the moon incarnate. Which, there's moonlight when she's with Kvothe. So that would throw a wrench in that theory.
So the two,
unless
maybe
she's
the two
just
of
that
them,
part of the moon that Ix captured, and there's just certain times where she's able to walk the earth. I don't know. Denna is very fucking hard to figure out what the fuck's going on with her. It cannot be simple as she's just some girl. There's got to be more.
She's obviously going to the Fae to get railed by some Bass character, some
maybe her and Felurian are playing violins together, whatever their words are. They're playing searching hands.
Harp. They're working on their harp fingering.
No, you know what it's probably called? They probably call it they're doing the scissor testing. Scissor sharpening. It's sharpening scissors is what they call it.
Who's they?
Many legs. Remember, Felurian has all these names for their different sexual games they play. Many hands,
scissor legs.
Oh,
one of her favorite moves is scissor legs.
Yeah.
Edward Scissor Legs.
Edvard Scissor Legs, man of many scissors.
Is this going to make it to the final cutting floor?
It's so perverted.
What? What's the problem?
So perverted.
Well, what else? I mean, does she have a franchise of like a fast food dealership or a fast food place in the Fae? Is that a thing? Do they do that there?
What do you mean?
Yeah. She's got like...
I don't get it.
She runs a bunch of Jack in the Boxes. And,
she's a district manager.
Jack in the
she's
Box?
An entrepreneur.
Jack in the Box?
She's like a district manager of 4 Jack in the Boxes. This is all she focuses on when she's in the Fae. It's like the new ad campaign.
That's how she's making her money.
The new ad campaign
by managing a Jack in the Box
for the 99-cent taco. Guy, we got this big new ad campaign going for these 4 stores. I need everybody on point. 99-cent tacos. Now you get them in a package. You get 5 for $4. That's the deal. Yeah, I like it.
She's dressing up with the clown head.
They don't even use her face. She's literally the moon. Because it's like a moon.
Yeah,
right.
She's got that moon clown face, and that's why everybody thinks she's the moon. It's like, nah, I'm the Jack in the Box. Common mistake. Mistake. She's
a district manager.
Jack in the Box is not a euphemism. Me and Felorium are nothing.
Yeah.
She showed me how to make snowflakes with scissors. You guys are way off.
I like that. I think that's it's reaching to really high levels of literary craft, but I like it. I think it's solid.
It's
a cross promotion
to make Jack in the Box in the Fae makes sense, but I think it can be done.
It's a big cross promotion. Yeah. So like the third book, it's just gonna have a big Jack in the Box ad, and when you open up the book, there's gonna be like coupons fall out.
Yeah. He's just selling Jack in the Box. He fucking got a monster fucking contract from Jack in the Box, so that's what he makes her as a Jack in the Box franchise owner out of the Fae.
Did you guys already touch on the euphemisms related to the phrase Jack in the Box? Jack in the Box.
Yeah, it also works. That's why I brought it up, because it works with the Felorian.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Handcraft.
I wasn't sure.
Sexual innuendo thing. It's like a triple entendre, man. This is great.
It really was. Okay, well, like I said earlier, tune in next week, guys, because the next episode is going to be hot.
Well,
scissoring, hot scizzering.
Like a fucking
like a
Tabasco
scissoring at
sauce
the Jack in the Box.
The fuzzy tacos, man. We got a deal on 5 for 1 fuzzy tacos.
Fuzzy tacos with fucking Tabasco sauce and jalapeno.
Buy 5, get 1 free.
Hot.
Harry, holy moly!
But we got some great shit on the next one, because we're gonna get into the Bone Tar incident. Yeah, then he goes, when he gets, I like the part, his interaction with Diak. It's a nice little scene, the whole entire scene, because especially like the first time you go through it, you learn a lot about Denna, that it fills her out a little bit more, and you get, the dynamic where Diak is kind of a little bit older, a little bit wiser man, kind of educating young Kvothe on women, giving him a little bit of a better understanding of her situation, what women have to go through in the world, just kind of illuminating exactly the differences between his situation and hers, even though, his situation is bad. It kind of gives him a counterexample of how much worse it could be and what he would have to do if he was in her shoes.
Yeah, I thought it was extremely insightful for Kvothe. Finally to learn not only just about women, but about Denna and the way she really is. And also, Diak just makes a nice comparison between him and her that's real insightful for him, because Kvothe had no idea at this point that she had no family, nobody, no nothing, that she was really in touch with him or in sync with him as far as where her background was.
It's important for the reader, too, because it's enforcing it for us to focus and to realize the difference and to realize, how things are for her, how much more difficult it is, because we see it through Kvothe's eyes. We see, why isn't she more accessible? We were frustrated by certain aspects of her. And now we get a deeper justification through this meeting. It's also just great in the sense that I can't think of a lot of circumstances where I've read about an interesting interplay that I've experienced in my own life, where it's 2 guys talking about a girl they've dated that they're both kind of vexed with. It's an interesting sort of dynamic it really plays out so beautifully too, because they're both sort of like, not licking their wounds, but in a way almost like they can't figure this girl out. They're both kind of drinking and sort of ponderous about it and stuff. I really like it. I like this part of the chapter is really, really cool for me. It has a lot of payoff.
Yeah, I agree. The way that they fed off each other.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying the way that they fed off each other as far as like adding on to each other's realizations when it came to Denna and especially for Kvothe. I'll bring it back to that because it really meant something for Kvothe as far as his character development in what, he should have realized about Denna in the first place.
One aspect of it, like I totally did not feel, was when Kvothe said something along the lines of, there's nothing more that will unite two men than talking about like a woman they both, chased after or whatever it was along those lines. It's like, I've never felt that at all. It's the exact opposite feeling. is like, like tell me you've hooked up with, my ex, and it's not going to be like, oh, let's reminisce. Let's both talk about her. It's being like, nah, let's never Eiffel ever Tower mention thing? Her ever again between each other. We'll never talk about this ever again.
It depends. I mean, for me, I have more so had that experience that you just described than I have another. But there's a particular woman that comes in mind that was one of the craziest women I dated, and a friend of mine dated her after me. So that was kind of funny to have a back and forth about, like, so she's still nuts, and sort of like figuring
Tim,
that sort of thing out.
Was it me? Was it me?
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
It would be.
I didn't have as close a relationship, anywhere close to as near a relationship with her as I did with the woman I'm talking about.
Well, like it's different. Like if it's like someone you don't really know, like as far as the girl, like you're not like super close with her. That's fucking different. Like, but if it was like someone you've
the girl
like
that
pined after or whatever, it's like no, I'm not gonna fucking want to socialize with someone about some girl we both pined after.
Well, while I hear you, it depends on how it ended. That's the most important thing in my book, in terms of the circumstance I'm talking about. The girl that Fitz is talking about, that we once walked into a bar and
surface.
It
was in both of our scenarios, it was pretty surface. It wasn't anything deep. But she was a mystery. That's why it reminds me. She's like Denna.
Yeah, it was very. She's one of the examples I have that is like Denna because she is confounding. And the interesting thing was once you, me, and Swaim and someone else all walked into a bar, and she knew every single one of us, and every single one of us had like a surface relationship with her that didn't go further, and we all wanted it to. It was a really interesting situation that kind of played out there. But in the one I'm talking about, when the relationship ends where you're like, no, there's no way this is ever going to work. I'm never going to talk to this girl again. And then a friend reaches out to me like, hey, do you know this girl? And I'm just like, yeah, man, I know her. Like what? And then he's just like, what do you think? And I'm just like, well, had to give a little bit of a warning, No,
I'm far too competitive. I can just tell like from this conversation, like it would like raise my blood pressure. Like I would get like be so competitive in my mind over the situation. I'm just saying I get what you guys are saying, and I'm just like trying to put myself in your guys' shoes, and I'm like, nope, still wouldn't be that way. It would still be a competitive thing where it'd be like,
I get it. No. But bear in mind, I'm also married, and I know this was a bullet I dodged, so I had a different psychosis on it. But yeah, I heard you, Fitz. I thought I got a little reminder in my mind where it's like, oh yeah, Diak's not gay, and I remember there was one or two circumstantial reasons why I thought that maybe he was.
No, he is,
and I don't remember what those were.
He's bisexual.
He's bi or something.
Him and Diak and Stanchion are together.
See, I didn't remember this conversation and him going after Denna when. Later on, I found out that him and Stanchion were together.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's pining after. There's no way, Dan. Well, I'm on your side here. If I'm pining after a woman currently, I'm not friends with her other guy.
No, I agree with that completely. I agree with that 100%. I'm saying I have had this experience because of a different situation. Again, 99% of the time, or I don't know, maybe not that much, but most of the time, it's no, fuck you. I don't want to hear about this. I don't want to hear about any dude with some, girl that I liked. But in the circumstance of somebody that it's never going to happen with again, it's a little bit different.
But it doesn't seem like Deok's really after her.
No, now they're at a point that he says it's kind of like a little sister type of dynamic.
Yeah, but he definitely cares for her.
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of information about her.
Yeah, and it's kind of a little bit creepy because he's almost, around 30, and she's what, 16, 17, 18, in that range.
Yeah.
And he's known her over a year ago. Like, yeah, he's definitely towing the line there.
Yeah.
But, maybe she's older. Maybe
rocking the cradle.
Could
anyway.
be that she's older than we think, but.
Oh, I never thought about that, Dan. That's the first time anyone mentioned that, right?
Anybody mention what?
That Denna might be older.
No, I brought that up when they first, meet. Like, Kvothe thinks she's like a young girl, but I don't think that's, 100% likely because of, who she is, what her situation is, her knowing Deok, Deok chasing after her. It seems unlikely that she was, 16 years old when he saw her. She doesn't seem like a 16-year-old. Could be. Who knows? I mean, he doesn't seem like a 15-year-old, but there's no confirmation on her age, and so we don't know exactly how old she is. But yeah, he was definitely towing that line, with the older man going after the super young chick.
Yeah, that definitely comes across, or at least I definitely felt so.
And I like to just the interaction's great because you get Kvothe like sitting there. It's like, women don't like Denna?
Yeah.
And he's like, good Lord, boy, you don't understand women. And it's such a great lie, especially after you get all these interactions where Kvothe is constantly remarking on the fact that he doesn't understand women. He's a kid, and then Deok just says it straight to his face, like, good Lord, boy. And so it's a classic. And then he goes back to the like, oh, and then then I thought of Sim sitting there saying like, it's enough to make you hate a man, which that is not like men that I know. Like, that's not a typical man trait. I'm sure there are men like that fuck it. But like, an example would be like, I don't watch Fight Club and get jealous of Brad Pitt. I just love that fucking movie and think he's awesome in it. And the fact that women fucking love him for a totally different reason, I don't give a shit about. I don't like get jealous of, of the women that, the men that women like fucking slobber over. Never get jealous over them. I never fucking feel that.
Yeah, what Stanchion said gives new meaning to the phrase of what he said. Nothing like a woman's scorn or whatever it is. He mentions a woman's scorn, and you think about it like towards a man, but really, yeah, that's what makes him. That's what surprises Kvothe about what he's saying, and he's like,
no. He doesn't talk about a woman's scorn. He's saying like a woman. The reason women hate her is because all the men love Denna. Like they all
men's adoration and women's scorn in roughly equal amounts. And what he's referring to is women hate the fact that she gets all the attention from the men. And that's how women are, man. That is how, in my experience, that's how most women are, or many, at least.
Yeah. And like he says, good Lord, you really don't know anything about women, do you? I would ordinarily have bristled at his comment, but Deok was nothing but good-natured. Think of it. She's pretty and charming. Men crowd around her like stags and rut. He made a flippant gesture. Women are bound to resent it. I remembered what Sim had said about Deok not a span ago. He managed to get the most beautiful woman in the place again. It's enough to make you hate a man. I've always felt she was rather lonely. I volunteered. Maybe that's why. So yeah. When, it doesn't surprise me that women would hate a woman like Denna. Like, that makes perfect sense, especially how she interacts with men and what she's doing. Because the one thing that Deok kind of makes clear is, one, she is, partially a courtesan. She'll also, she will get in working relationships with groups, like, would ride with a caravan to kind of attract other people and kind of help their business. And so she'll be basically the Vanna White type. So she'll do those type of things as well. She can make business relationship, but she also will go the courtesan route too. And, so he lays out a dynamic where, like, if you're, another girl and you're not getting that kind of admiration, that kind of attention from men from all corners, yeah, I could see where the jealousy would come in, just because of, their women's dynamic is completely different than how men react to each other.
Don't you think that this topic, this subject, is probably part of the reason why a lot of people say that Denna is not realistic? Right? Because she has these qualities that women find to not be realistic because they like the way they are. You know what I'm saying? So like that resentment could even be peppering their perception of a realistic character.
Like what I could see it as is the reason, like, I think, a lot of women might not relate to Denna is because the women who I think of that are like Denna, they don't hang out with other girls. They hang out with men.
Yeah.
And so if you're not like Denna, it's going to be harder to relate because, the Dennas of the world don't hang out with other women. Like, I mean, it's
that's kind of what I'm
very
saying,
similar trait. They're almost like one of the boys. They're obviously they're not guys, they're feminine, and especially if they're fucking attractive, it's a different dynamic, but still they're kind of one of the boys.
So what I liked about this little scene right here is where we just, as a first time reader, you just learned that Denna is a courtesan, and Diak immediately explains to you the repercussions of not being a courtesan in this situation. In being, she's in Kvothe's situation as a female. She can't work as a line cook because she's going to get raped and taken advantage of that way because she doesn't have family or anyone to protect her. And the only way that she can really make it and survive, but also overcome and be productive, is to tease it and do what she's doing.
And not only
it almost
not only
brings
like
respect
tease
to
it,
the.
it's just it's more. I think of it more as to be a hustler. She's got to be on her game. She's got to play a game, and so if that means means being the pretty face in a caravan, she'll do that. If that means fucking working some fucking chump and running game on him and running the hustles, the scams to fucking rob him of his money, she'll do that. If it means being a courtesan, she'll do that. She's just a straight hustler.
She's a hustler,
And in this world with her situation, like I agree with Diag. I don't blame her. I don't judge her. Like I respect the.
She
fucking
has no
hustle.
choice though.
Well, she's choosing to take a difficult route because she could. She's had many, many chances to let some dude just take care of her, but she's not going to do that. That doesn't fit her personality. She could just lay back and let this dude take care of her, put her up in a nice place, buy her clothes, buy her food. She doesn't have to struggle, but that doesn't fit her personality. There was an element.
I mean, but in her shoes, I wouldn't do that either. I wouldn't be some fucking kept dude. Fuck that.
I thought it immediately made me kind of think, holy shit! Like, I was shocked the first time I read it, but then immediately added respect to what she's doing.
When they started to talk about her, not being kept down and traveling, I thought it was interesting that Diak said, in part, I think it is her nature. It could be she simply has wandering blood. I started to think, and I'm sure there's probably plenty of evidence to shut it down, but I started to think, is it possible she has Rue blood? It kind of made me think of that, given wandering blood. That's edema Rue.
Yeah, you'd think she would have mentioned it, though. Like, why would she keep that a secret?
Well, it's not, but that's part of the thing about them. They don't talk about their past. So I could see there being a payoff in the future where it's like they find out they have this like they're closely related in a way where it's like, how did we not talk about this? And it's like neither of them talk about their past with each other.
Yeah, but I mean, you would think like she would know that he's one of the Rue, like, because everybody else does. So the fact that she's as close to him as she is, like, and you would think that would come out. Like, I do think there's got to be a dynamic to her past and, her family. There's got to be something to that. But for her to be Rue seems like a lot of work. Like, and you would think, like, if she's the Rue, then that would, she probably had some kind of tragic circumstance in her life to put her in the position that she's in. So you think it would lower your opinion of the Rue, and I don't think that's the route he's going. Like, he shits on the Rue so much, and then when he shows them in the actual light, they're all pretty fucking decent people. Then to go the route of showing her, like, growing up in a Rue family and she has this fucking terrible upbringing and has to escape them or something, or she's gonna get married off. Like, I would be surprised if he would go that route.
Yeah, I mean,
but you could also think that her family was killed.
Well, I was going to say
from this chapter, because Diak says she has no family. When he questions Diak about where she came from, he's like, she has no family, no friends.
Yeah,
but I don't think I don't think he knows, like, what her upbringing was based off that. I just think he's not dumb. He can look at Denna. She's not, she's not turning to her family for, money. She's not borrowing on their name. She's fucking just hustling. Like, you could put two and two together that, her family's not in the picture, and you could put that together without knowing exactly what happened. Because, like, if Diak knows what happens, then you would think, like, that Kvothe would have, asked, like, Rothfuss. I don't think Rothfuss wrote it in where Diak knows the history of her upbringing, and then there's just no interaction between him and Kvothe where that information is leaked out. That would seem like a weird choice.
I know. I don't think that would be the case. But what I am wondering is that maybe he's picking up on something, and maybe Rothfuss has him saying "wandering blood" to hint at the possibility, to hint at the possibility of that being the case. But there's no other evidence. I don't have any other evidence to back that up. It's literally this little piece. So I thought I'd mention it.
I got what you were saying. I was my response was towards, with what Fitz was saying. I wasn't contradicting yours. But I don't. There's obviously something has to happen with her family. I don't think Diak knows. Seems like Rothfuss wouldn't have wrote it that way.
Seems like no one knows.
In this situation, if Diak knew, you would think he would have fucking talked about it. Like, he would have said, like, her upbringing was very, very bad. It ended badly. She lost her parents. It wouldn't just be like she doesn't have her family. It would be like she lost her parents because they were killed. If he knew.
Yeah,
like, you would think gave the extra information.
Yeah, you would think if he knew and Rothfuss was going to have him deliver it, this would be the point, and that didn't happen. Yeah. So I have to mention on the same page, because it's one of my favorite things, and it's a small thing, but I love it so much, where Diak is trying to create like an analogy for trying to describe how she, is basically a man's woman, and he's having trouble finding the analogy. So then Kvothe tries to help him out, and he's like, well, you know what they say, finding the right analogy is as hard as, and then he starts grabbing at the air, like he's trying to, like, literally grab for the words. It's like a visual analogy to illustrate the difficulty of finding the right words, like literally trying to grab them. And to be able to read that in the book, that's the type of thing that I get, like, I like it so much. It makes me, like, smile and laugh about it. But yeah, so when I see things like that, I can't help but mention them. So there you go.
Yeah, it's the classic, like, it's like trying to find the right. It's like trying to come up with the right. Like, you can't come up with the right the right words.
What I love about it so much is when you're reading a book and it's being acted out. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not being articulated, and that's the whole point. It can't be articulated. They're having trouble articulating it, so they're not even articulating it themselves and pantomiming it. It's fucking great, man. It's just a really clever type of little thing. But
that shit is very well written, and the whole scene is amazing the way it's written.
Yeah, it's great, man. The back and forth is great. Their choice of what to drink and what will like, supplement their conversation most correctly.
Yeah,
that whole
it's
back and
wine
forth.
Wine romanticizes the ambiance, right?
Yeah, they even quoted Tecum, I believe. Out of all spirits, only wine is suited to reminiscence. A good wine allows clarity and focus while still allowing a bit of comforting coloration of the memory. And the whole thing was like beer dulls a memory, brand sets it burning, but wine is the best for a sore heart's yearning. Did Kvothe write that?
So what?
No, whatever.
I don't remember who said that.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, and then outside of that, I do like that Kvothe, finds it galling to not stand his round, so he buys his own bottle, and they switch drinks, and they speak poetically when they're doing their little toast. So there's some kind of nice flourishes, but